Welcome, guys. I'll be showing you how to cut your trouser considering the waistband. You know, your waistband is an external attachment to your trouser, so you must always keep that in mind when you are cutting your trouser. First, I'll also be explaining the arrangement of your fabric when you are cutting your trouser. You can see I'm trying to place the finished edge on one side. Then I'll be trimming off the excesses on the top to make it straight. Then we'll go straight to the cutting. We'll start by marking 10 inches for our crotch point, and that would also be our tie line. So I'll be joining all those lines with a straight line, and inevitably I've created our tie line. So that's that. So the next thing I'll be doing now is the most important part. I'll be taking the full trouser length of my client. So I'll take that measurement like that. That is the full trouser length. Now, I want to show you how we impute the waistband measurement here. So I'll go up by the size of the waistband. So the waistband is 1.5 inches. So that is the size of the waistband. But we're using 1/2 inches to join the waistband. So I'll mark that 1/2 inch I'll be using to join the waistband. So that 1/2 inch would now be our new trouser length I'll be cutting. So that measurement is what I will mark all through. So that 1/2 inch point measurement, I will duplicate that measurement on 3 different positions, and I'll be joining all 3 points with a straight line. So that will naturally become our new length I'll be working with for this cutting. So that is how to impute the additional waistband measurement while cutting your trouser. So I'll be marking 2 inches for the folding of the down line, and I'll be joining both points with a straight line as well. So that's just the most important part of this cutting. So I'll be doing every other thing I'm supposed to do now, and I'll be starting with the waist to knee measurement. So I'll take that, and all this is just to give your trouser the right shape it needs. You know, when you're cutting a male trouser, you don't mostly need the curve on the hip, because that is mostly for females. So when you're cutting a male trouser, you just need it perfectly slant, and that is the essence of the knee. So on this knee point, I'll take 1 inch. You can take 1/4. So I'll also take 2 inches on the down line, or you can take 2.5, depending on how much slant you want on your trouser. But all will be fine, since you will be taking the necessary measurements from the slant line. So I'll just make that line like that from there. Then I'll go straight to the pocket measurements before I complete that line. I'll take my pocket measurement, and that will be 7.5 inches. So I might use 7.5 on people who I know their size aren't that big, and I also use 8 inches if I know you are of let's say a big size. So I marked 1/2 inches from that 7.5 inches mark, and I'll be joining that slant to that 1/2 inch point. While cutting, I'll also go inwards by 1/2 inch, and I'll be showing you. So while cutting, I'll also go extra 1/2 inch inwards. So after that line, I still went extra 1/2 inch inwards, and that is to make for our pocket slant. So for our waist, I'll take my waist measurement, add 1/2 inch for my dart, and also add extra 1/2 inch for the excesses that will be on the back of my trouser. 1/2 inch for that, 1/2 inch for the excesses on the back. Then I'll take my thigh measurement. My thigh will be 23.5 divided by 2. So it's just the division of 2. You divide your thigh into 2. But that waist I took was actually divided by 4. So that is just the difference. So the waist is divided by 4 and the thigh is divided by 2. So I'll join the thigh to the waist point like that. I would also be adding 1 inch for ease on the crotch point, and I'll come up to 1.5 or 2 inches depending on whatever you choose to use. Then I'll join with a curve like that. I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I'll take my thigh measurement again, and this is just for safety purposes. You just want to make sure your thigh is not too tight. Then I'll come to the ankle line. I'll take my ankle measurement. That will be my ankle divided by 2. Then the next thing will be coming up by 2 inches and taking that ankle measurement again. And this is because when you fold the down line, you don't want the folding to be smaller than what it meets upward. You want it to be of the same size. Then I'll start the converging curve inwards. So how you mostly get your curve to be perfect is you start your curve from the down, and you also start your curve from the top. So as you can see, I'm bringing my curve from the down now to meet that on top. And that's that. After cutting out the front piece, so I'll be showing you the slant of the pocket. So that finished edge is actually important when you are sewing your pocket. So I'll be marking 3 inches. So the pocket should be slanted at the 3 inches mark, and I'll be making a notch. After making that notch, I've succeeded in creating my pocket slant. Then I'll go straight to the preparation of the cutting of the back piece. For the back piece, I'll be switching to the other side now. The part I used for the ankle will be the part I'll be using for the waist, and the part I used for the waist will be the part I'll be using for the ankle. And this is just to manage your fabric. If you check very well, you will see that everything we are using to cut out our trouser here is not longer than the trouser length plus let's say 2 or 3 inches. So technically it's not even bigger than trouser length. The trouser length is 45 inches by 36. So I'll be cutting off the left side like that, and it will be exactly the same shape of the left side of the front piece. So what I'm actually doing now is cutting off the left side of the back piece, and I'll also be cutting the crotch part as well. Everything I'm cutting off is actually important. What I'll be using for my pocket cover, what I'll be using for the flap of my zip. So I'll come down by ½ inch on the front piece, then I'll make a slant line to the top of the edge like that, and that is just to make sure your trouser sits under your tummy, so it doesn't come above your tummy, it sits under it. So I would measure 1 inch now from that part, and that is to make sure your trouser is not below the tip of your bum bum, that it is at the point your back meets your bum bum. So for the downline, I'll just make a straight cut as well. Then for the extension, I'll use my ruler to extend that line like that, and after extending that line, I would also cut. Then after cutting, I'll be showing you what to do to get your sewing allowance. So to get our sewing allowance, I'll be making an extension of 2 inches all through, and I'll be checking to make sure what I'm actually extending is exactly 2 inches. So I'll be making that extension all through, and that 2 inches is responsible for our sewing allowance. You could tell that from the beginning to the end of the measurements taken, we never consider the sewing allowance. So I'll also be making a straight slant line to that edge like that, and I'll be cutting off. And after cutting off, I'll go straight to the cutting of the right side of the back piece.